Welcome to this week's special edition of Pinay Insight, brought to you by the Asian American Press Club of the U.S. in collaboration with CPJ Multimedia. I'm Thelma Sugay. This program is made special through the help of our partner, the Rotary Club of Historic Filipinotown. In this particular program, you will be meeting one of the finest Asian Americans, a Filipino-American, to be more specific, as we journey with him his successful run through the years. He is Mark Labella. He has a doctorate in medicine, has served the nation through the Navy, and most importantly, eventually found his passion in story writing. So now, Labella is an accomplished filmmaker. Let's meet him, listen, and learn. Welcome to Pinay Insight. I'm Thelma Sugay. Today, we celebrate our first edition of a series of successful stories that we feature during the month of October, Filipino-American History Month. And it's so appropriate that our guest this morning is none other than someone who has served our nation through the Navy. He's a veteran. He's got a doctorate in medicine. And soon he learned that he had a passion in filmmaking because he loves to share great stories, and he does it quite well. Everyone, let's welcome Mark Labella. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mami Tama. It's really an honor to be here, and I love seeing your beautiful face. So I am very excited to be here.
Thank you, Mark. It's great to see you, son. So with us today, Mark, allow me to introduce the rest of the panel. We have Nina Sevilla, who is the host producer of the radio programs, the sister company of Pinay Insight. It's called Eastside Rising, and it actually airs out of Boyle Heights. Nina, you want to say hello?
Hi, Mark. It's a pleasure meeting you. I've seen a few of your movies, and I think you do a great job. I can't wait to find out more.
And Nina, she's so modest, she won't even say this, but allow me to share with you, is on the board of Levitt Los Angeles. So they hold a series of concerts during summer free for the public. So that's an amazing, amazing gift. And then we have Terry Guptan, who is the current president of Rotary Historic Filipinotown. And he actually had this show as his dream. It's been a long time coming, Terry. We are here. We're finally able to highlight the successful Filipino-Americans in the United States, starting off with our very own Los Angeles. And I know you've got a story, so why don't you say hello to everyone, Terry?
Hey, Mark. Great to see you. Heard a lot about you. Nina, thank you so much for supporting the broadcast or the podcast. I'm excited to be a part of this, and there's no limit of success stories out there, so I look forward to making this an ongoing thing to lift up the Filipino-American community. Great to be with you guys tonight.
Thank you, Terry, and that's great. And I know you're tickled pink, if I may refer to that color, because tickled brown, I like that, because we finally found someone that fits your category. It was hard to find a Mark. And finally, when he reached out, I said, thank you, Lord. We have our first guest. And of course, Ben Aranda, who is now the treasurer of Rotary Club Historic Filipinotown. And Ben, talk to me about the mission. I know you've been on the governor's side too of this club. Talk to me about what you've done with them and what the mission of Rotary Club is globally.
Yes, thank you for having us here. Welcome, Mark. Good to see you. So basically, the Rotary mission is we provide service to others. We promote integrity, advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through fellowship of business, professional, and community leaders. Rotary's been around since 1905. We have over 1.2 million members, about over 800 clubs, and this is worldwide. We have areas of focus that we look at as far as supporting and that is to promote peace, fight disease, provide clean water, sanitation and hygiene, improve maternal and child health, support education, grow local economies, and protect the environment. So this encompasses the areas of focus that Rotary looks at when it comes to supporting projects. In our club, in the district, we do have a governor that gets elected, well, appointed pretty much every year. And then I had a opportunity to become one of the assistant governor for our district and for a number of years. And that's really my job, is to oversee other clubs on behalf of our governor. I'm like a liaison. So when the governors start asking how the clubs are doing, that is my job to update them as far as what's going on.
And I actually heard you say something that caught my ear, because Mark has an amazing story about maternity and delivering babies. So all of us, sadly enough, we've heard about the earthquake in Cebu, 6.9 on the Richter scale, about 69 deaths. I don't know, that number may have grown from the last time I checked my stats. But Mark is Tubong Cebuano. That's where he went to school. That's where he served for his residency and his fellowship. And I know you were pushed as you were helping the ladies push out their babies. I mean, to a point where you needed to keep calm because the resources were scarce. And there was an earthquake going on at that moment where the walls were crashing down on you guys. And you were rolling out patients on one piece of roller bed. So that was shared by all those maternity patients of yours. And then you did share, it was an extra amount of patients that you had to address and help because Vicente Soto, one of the other hospitals in Cebu, had just closed down. And you were then working with Cebu City Medical Center. Walk us through that experience, Mark.
So I just wanted to correct a little bit. I did my med school and my internship in Cebu, and I did my pre-med in George Washington University here in the States, as well as Cebu Doctors University. So, but yeah, it was a really insane time. It was like after I was in the Navy. I already had emergency medical experience as well. So it was really crazy, Mami, because it was the busiest day of the year, because Vicente Soto has its yearly scheduled cleaning. And so we were talking, and so what I would do every day before a shift is I would go to the nearest pharmacy that I was like, we call it suki in the Philippines, where I would like get cheaper stuff. I had a fanny pack with me, and what I would do is a lot of patients can't afford even needles, sterile needles, right? And they can't afford like local anesthesia. So forget about an epidural. They can't even afford local anesthesia after, you give birth to a kid. You do have perineal tears, right? There's tears that you have to repair. And so I would buy all of that, and thank God I was fully stocked that morning. 3 women in one bed. I would check dilation, where are we? Woman next to her, take off my gloves, put on new ones. That's how busy it was. Literally 3 women in one bed. And I just remember things just started shaking, right? And it was like, and I could just remember chunks of the wall were falling down, and the other room, like there was zero roof already. And thank God no one was in that room, and like oxygen tanks. And I remember someone was like, oh no, we need to stay here. I was like, no, you guys, we're gonna have aftershocks. Like we cannot just stay here. Like, so I had to take the lead because of my military experience. Thank God I was able to stay calm. But I was telling the moms, like, don't you dare push. You can't stop a labor and delivery, even though the ground is shaking. Don't fart. Don't even fart. We're just gonna walk down these stairs and like one arm on the other. And thankfully we got out there, and there was one bed. And I think that bed belonged to an internal medicine patient. And I just kindly asked the patient, can you please just get off for just a few minutes? And I remember, shout out to Dr. Rohan Survey. He was from India. He's an intern there at Cebu Doctors as well. And he was he was like, Mark, do you want me to go back in and get some sterile stuff? Because I didn't have this other sterile equipment, like the scissors and all that other stuff. And I was like, okay. And so just runs into CCMC and just have these like sterile equipment with him. And here I am putting the mom on, delivering the baby. First baby was a breech, so I had to do the McDonald's maneuver. My resident was there, Dr. Minnie. She was like guiding me, and she was like, okay, all right, delivered, sewed it up, take the mom off, next mom, deliver the baby. And as I'm doing this, I remember there was that someone found a blanket, and at least there was a blanket. And the picture that you saw, that was before the blankets were covering us. You see the husband holding the wife, just like letting her know. And I would sew them up, take them off, and that was that day. It was like I have Dr. Michelle Daquipil, who's in another part of Philippines now, who had to deliver a baby in a taxi. And I was lucky enough to have that memory be photographed, because that's what they used as like part of the campaign to rebuild CCMC again. And at that time, my uncle was the vice mayor of Cebu.
Yes.
Uncle Edgar, rest in peace.
What's his last name?
With
Mike?
his leadership, Labella.
Also, she's the same.
Yeah, my uncle. Yeah, it was just the craziest day I've ever encountered. But at the same time, it was proof for me that there are still stories that are being told, right? Especially as Filipino-Americans, as someone who is a part of this country, we are the backbone of medicine, right? And there are still stories of our faces and our people that haven't been told. And that's why I do what I do now.
Thank you, Mark. And that's why you have a series that's coming up. So all these experiences of yours, and having a mom who's a nurse dedicated to you, and she's a single mom, so that's another amazing feature about your mother. You've had this project in your mind for over 7 years, since you've actually won that writing grant from WGA, was it?
I was able to go to the WGA writing program. That's a program, WGA Foundation Veterans Writing Program. That's what it's called. And I won my first screenwriting award, not from the WGA, but I won Detroit at that time, talking about my experience during the pandemic and making a comedy out of it, because comedy does come from pain. I was able to do this full time. But imagine my mom being a nurse, and now she's remarried. My family's world like blew up, because they were like, "What? You want to do what? You want to be a writer? You want to be a filmmaker?"
There goes all that wealth we were hoping you would share with us. I'm not joking.
Until I was producing a movie with Coco Martin and Jody Santa Maria, then my mom was already proud,
You gained her respect.
Coco and Catherine and Alden and all these people and Piolo and all these big time stars that she's always loved. And so that made her go, okay, I guess my son
you've
is
arrived. I'll shout out now, right? I'll zip my mouth.
Yeah.
So tell me about Nurse the Dead. That's a catchy name. And it's the first ever studio produced series by a Filipino-American and located in Los Angeles. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, it's the first major Filipino studio series here in Los Angeles. It's called Nurse the Dead. So for these 7 years, since my WJ training, I've always wanted to write about Filipino nurses. I mean, in case anybody didn't know, we are the #1 immigrant nursing population in the United States and the world, even in Canada and other parts of the world. And
I'm sorry, excuse me. I think Terry has a question for you. Go ahead, Terry.
No, just want to affirm that that idea, Mark, is so important to put out there because decades and decades and decades, in fact, probably 100 years, we've been the #1 population of delivering nurses and doctors throughout the world. Yet it doesn't seem to be a recognized fact about who we are and what we are. So I appreciate you and thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you,
And
Terry.
I understand, Mark, you had also said one of the stats you shared on the bio that you sent us was that 30% of our nurses passed away during COVID.
The related stat is, even though we're the #1 immigrant nursing population in the country, right? We actually only make up like 4% of the whole nursing population.
Wow. Okay.
But 30% of the nurses who did pass away or that we lost during COVID-19 or lost to COVID-19 are Filipino.
Wow.
And that can be attributed to the fact that, it's these Filipino nurses that do volunteer for the ICUs and, are also older weather, and it could also be a socioeconomic standards. There are actually no studies why it is 30%, but we can infer, right? So because there was such a high thing, that gave me even more urgency to like write about nurses. Like if you see Michelle Josue's Nurse Unseen, you'll see the experience of nurses. I was in the front lines. There was a week where I couldn't even get out of bed because I couldn't understand that I couldn't do anything about this. That people, my colleagues, my friends, people I cared for, patients that just passed away within a week. My mom's best friend passed away, and then her husband passed away, leaving 3 kids behind within a week of each other. And my mom's best friend's a nurse. So I mean,
How are those kids managing? Do you know?
They're okay, right? They're surviving, but it was really hard. I mean, it's still, grief is hard, and that's what really gave me urgency to write something about it. But I couldn't just write a nursing show that had Filipinos. I mean, every medical show has that. They just don't have Filipinos.
It has to be funny.
Yeah. So, and comedy really does come from pain. So I was like, how can I make a show that would combine the young people and the older people and make it be about the heart of coming together and watching this as a family? So I came up with this idea that was like really, that makes it interesting, right? So also that Pute and Latino and other races could also enjoy it. So I came up with this idea of a young nursing supervisor who has a third eye. You know what a third eye is? So this nursing supervisor fights so hard to work at the most haunted ward in all of Los Angeles. And you're wondering, why would you want that comedy, that chaos? Because you're seeing patients, you can have a third eye, but her mom actually works in that same ward. Her overbearing, overprotective, very strict, workaholic mom who just worked the whole time. And that's how it was for me, right? My mom worked all the time as a single mom back then, right? She worked all the time. Can I just tell you, as we peel through the layers of this pilot, we find out that the mom is actually one of the ghosts who passed away during COVID-19.
Okay, wonderful. I love it. Is that spoiler alert? Were you not supposed to tell us that, Mark? And you just sort of spilled the beans?
We'll find out in the pilot naman eh. But that's the idea of the show, is that we are getting to know each other as a mom and the daughter and the different generations.
And when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, Mark has a funny story about mom while he was in the service. We'll be right back after a few reminders here on Pinay Insight. In the heart of San Juan, Batangas, Philippines, is the secret treasure of a place called Skagwing Resort. It is not only a resort, but a home for our seniors to come home to. We have trained and efficient caregivers who are there to aid you as you enjoy the facilities that's culturally themed. It has fruit-bearing trees like malunggay, santol, and mangoes, so that our seniors and all our guests can enjoy their time gardening. There's also an infinity pool and a miniature golf course for their recreation. For more information, call 747-221-2322 or email Thelma@jmassgroup.com. Clay-Pel is a unique art medium made of recycled paper. We've taken paper waste, dyed it, and created a mixture that has a clay-like consistency. We've packaged them in do-it-yourself kits, so there's applicators, set of colors, and a board with a printed design. It's an art project that's easy enough for beginners and exciting enough for every artist of every age. Here's how you make an artwork. First, use your 2 sticks. Take a little bit of color and spread it on the board. Just cover all the spaces, and there you go. It's a fun art project for kids that helps build their motor skills as well as young adults, because it certainly is very therapeutic. And even for the elderly, we find that they really enjoy making art with the simple steps. So we encourage our customers to be creative and use different kinds of tools that they can find at home. You can achieve all sorts of textures, and as you can see, just with the use of the plastic spoon and knife. Here are some of the different textures that have been used in one artwork. Artists were able to explore the product even better and find out what else they can do with Clay-Pel. So there are many talented artists, we've held some national competitions, and we've gone on to mount more exhibits at hotels and other venues. There's so many more techniques to discover, and here are just some of the most unique pieces that we've seen as of late. They're very sculptural, 3-dimensional, and look, texture really holds up well for a durable work of art that you can actually use at home. And with the right formulation of clay powder, we'll be able to replicate the sculptural effect and create more products that are functional, that makes a positive impact in every community. The best part? It's sustainable. Now, ready to go beyond art and produce anything we set our mind to. Remember, Clay Pal Philippines. Fully Filipino-owned and totally Filipino-operated. Clay Pal Philippines. It's the company that works not only for you, but for the environment. Welcome back to Pinay Insight. If you're tuning in for the first time, allow me to reintroduce my guest, Mark Labella, and we'll know about his childhood, his mom, his role as a filmmaker, which, by the way, he was in the movie Love You with an Accent as its producer here in Los Angeles. It starred Coco Martin, Jody Santa Maria, and big names like, Jacqueline Jose, who we just lost last year, I believe it was, and Hill.
By the way, also starring Thelma Sugay in Love
Oh my
with an
goodness,
Accent.
small role. But listen, Mark, before we jump in on the story of your new series, Nurse the Dead, Ben has to go. He's with Rotary Historic Filipinotown. You've met him or may not if you're just tuning in. But he's a treasurer and he was part of the governorship of Rotary Club. And he's just going to talk to us, Mark, because I want people to know about this, that Rotary Club had a mission to eradicate polio and has successfully done so, except for two areas, Afghanistan and Pakistan. And he claims it's because they were hard to get to. And obviously, if you still have polio, even in one place, or in this case, two places, then you can't eradicate it totally. And so that's what Ben's with the Rotary Club.
Basically, this was funded by Bill Gates and his foundation, working in partnership with Rotary. Rotary is not afraid of big dreams, and they set big goals. So we began our fight against polio in 1979 with a project to immunize 6 million children in the Philippines. So today, polio remains endemic in only two countries, that's Afghanistan and Pakistan, down from 125 countries in 1988. So that's just the impact of Rotary going out there. With the numbers of clubs and members that we do have, we are able to stretch our arms all the way across the world.
That's wonderful, Ben. And I challenge Rotary Club of Historic Filipinotown to come up, because I see a collaboration waiting to happen here with Mark. By the way, Ben, he hasn't lost that passion to help other people. He's going on a medical mission in Panama. And I told him, Mark, can you do it for our country? And hopefully, Ben, your club can help.
Yes, we have, being that we are Historic Filipinotown, our partnership, most of them happens in the Philippines.
Nice.
And what I always say is that for us to be very effective is that we have a Rotary Club in the area where there is maybe a need, and they will be our ears and eyes to make sure there's accountability on the funding that's being sent out. And the way Rotary works, there's a lot of matching. So a lot of projects, you come up with, just for a number's sake, let's say 10,000, we're able to multiply that by about 3 to 4 times. And that's how powerful Rotary is, just because we have clubs in all the different parts of the world.
And I'm so glad, Ben, that you're in it and you're doing a good job. You're also active at the Incarnation Parish at the helm of the Filipino-American group there. And so thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you for having us here.
Here on Pinay Insight, and of course, Eastside Rising. And we now have a partner here, Ben, that we need to thank for also. It's CPJ Multimedia Company in the Philippines. So with the help of Asian American Press Club of the US, we thank you and the rest of the Rotary Club. We'll see you later, Ben. We'll jump right back to Mark. Thank you.
Hello again.
Okay, so Mark, He's not only a doctor, he's got a doctorate in medicine. He also served as a veteran in the Navy. And now we're talking about his role as a filmmaker. And we're talking about Nurse the Dead, the latest series. Outside of Love You with an Accent, you were also involved with Hello Love Again, on and behind the camera.
It's really an honor to be working with Kapamilya. I'm such a star cinema ABS-CBN since I was a kid, right? I mean, that's history,
Everyone's,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I learned Tagalog. It's watching movies, you know?
Oh.
And working with them on this new series called Nurse the Dead, really we wanted to work on this as something special, something that multiple generations, the young Filipina nursing supervisor is like myself, you know? And my mom is the mom in it, right? Like,
Yes.
we'll speak Tagalog to her, but she responds in English, you know? and really, like, especially with what happened in the pandemic, this is really a study on grief. So each season is about the different stages of grief. So season 1 is denial, then we have anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And so that's how each season is actually built upon each other. And so it's really something that I'm working with ABS-CBN on, and this is going to be their flagship series here in North America, just as Love You with an Accent was the first major Filipino studio film here in Hollywood. So I'm really just so grateful and so excited to be working with people that see my vision, my heart, my soul, because I put all those pieces into my writing and in my work.
And Hello Love Again, that's a movie with big names and got numerous awards. And
Yes,
what is it?
Actually, it's the #1 Filipino film in movie history, and the first Filipino film to ever crack the top 10 box office here in North America. The only film to crack the top 10 box office here in North America.
And they can still see it on Netflix, I understand.
It is on Netflix. Both movies, Love You with an Accent, I believe, and Hello Love Again, are still on Netflix. And really, like, my one and only goal with my work is to uplift and raise awareness that Filipinos are part of this diaspora, this America, this world, and to put Filipino faces and Filipino stories on TV and film is really my goal, and it's where my heart is. And I hope and pray that we're able to keep that going, especially with this new series, and people will keep supporting, because our stories deserve to be told too. You see so many Korean series doing so well. Everyone's watching all that. Where are the Filipinos who are just as talented, right?
Yeah.
Filipinos are just as talented and just as
If not
beautiful in
more.
their hearts and souls, if not more. And I want to show that, you know. And I could be a doctor now, but not everyone can write the stories I can, and has seen what I've seen and have met the people that I've met. So this is why I do what I do now. It's
Trade-offs, right? Your heart is full, I can tell. Your soul is full. Every time you speak about film, it's the glow, the glimmer in your eyes. It's there. It keeps you alive. Is that the correct statement? Also heard you say it was watching telenovelas or films from ABS-CBN that taught you how to speak Tagalog. So may I give that as a suggestion to my host producer, Nina Sevilla, who hopes to learn Tagalog? More of that, Nina. Just go keep watching those telenovelas.
You gotta watch out though too, Nina, because like, for example, I started speaking the way they would speak in telenovelas, and the people in the Philippines are like, "Why do you sound so OA? Ano ba yan? Bakit ba?" You know, like that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, be careful. Don't overly do what they're saying, you know.
Your acting is best,
I
right?
agree. Mark, I do have a question.
Go for it.
If I may add. In Hello Love
what's
Again,
up?
you and your partner played a married couple. It was a beautiful, authentic piece of LGBTQ visibility in a massive film. How important was it for you to bring that real-life authenticity to a mainstream Filipino movie? And what does that representation mean for queer youth watching today?
Oh my God,
Great
such
question.
a powerful question, Nina. Oh my God, you're so good. Oh, I love that question. But can I give you a little tea? I'm gonna give you a little tea. That's a little secret between us and the people that are watching. I wasn't out to my family in the Philippines before Hello Love Again came out. Imagine.
Oh my gosh!
What a way to come out of the closet to your family in the Philippines. And I all my friends didn't know, right? I only had girlfriends that they've met. And Marvin.
As a matter of fact, you still look so macho right now, son. I'm joking.
So, and then can I tell you, they filmed, I was in Austin at that time when they first did the first leg of their tour, right? And I only was able to join the last half. And I remember Marvin, Alden, and Catherine were on ASAP. And then, ASAP is filmed, it's not live, that little sequence, it's pre-filmed. And so Marvin actually called me and he was like, well, the cat's out of the bag. Catherine just said that we're real life couples on ASAP. And then I was like, oh, what do I do? And it's, and that's not Catherine's fault, huh? She didn't know that I wasn't out to my family yet. So what I did was I actually went to my therapist at that time, my psychiatrist, because I'm going through therapy at that right now, because I didn't know. For me, like being judged, I had such a trauma response to judgment and people talking about me, and Mommy Thelma knows this. We had to come up with a way that I could respond and accept it without being destroyed by it. Because sometimes there are things that people say and do, especially coming out in such a magnitude that people will put you down, right? There are still people to this day that don't think that we should have the right to be with a person that we love. So it was really hard for me to do that. But I mean, I will tell you that to this day, I'm getting messages from gay folks in the Philippines, LGBT people who say, God, I really love seeing that on TV because that gives me hope that someday that I could be with a person that I love for the rest of my life. So
there's your legacy. There's your legacy, Mark. And I did say in my teaser earlier that you were going to talk about that funny story with Mom visiting you at the barracks, which maybe have snowballed into this series. Go ahead.
Okay, so part of the series is 7 years ago when I was doing the WJ Writers Program. My first mentors ever were comedy mentors who wrote MASH, and they're creators of Frasier, Peter Casey, and their writing team. And so, I mean, these are the greats, right? These are the best of the best. And they were like, okay, Mark, give me just a story about who you are. And then as we were going through it, I told them about the story about my mom being the only mom in U.S. Navy history to infiltrate her son's barracks at 6 a.m, right? I just remembered waking up, really loud pounding, and a very curmudgeonly MA, a Master of Arms, I opened the door, and he goes, your mom's downstairs. And he looked pissed. And I walked down there, and yes, Nora, my mother, was in the lobby of my barracks. So it was probably one of the most embarrassing things. People were looking at me very judgingly. But it was like, and why? And I was like, Mom, why did you do that? She was like, because you haven't been answering your phone. I don't know what happened. And at that time I was, remember those old phones? This was like 2004, those crappy Samsung or Nokia phones back then, right? That didn't last so long. So I didn't have a charger, but I was studying so hard. I wanted to be number one in my class so I could pick wherever I went in my C school. This was Naval School of Health and Sciences in San Diego. And there was my mom, and Peter Casey was in the team behind Frasier and MASH. They were like, oh my God, that's it right there. Find a way to make that into a story.
And here we are.
Nurse the Dead.
I really think even if Mom transitions, she'll be right there knocking at your door at odd hours or in the hospital while you're doing your medical mission.
I mean, that's what breaks my heart so much about Cebu right now, right? Is not my friends messaging me, hey, this reminded me of you when I was there. When remember when you were in Cebu? And we all my doctor friends actually messaged me like, remember, like this reminds me of that time we were like delivering babies in the middle of the street and stuff like that. So it broke my heart because I can't be there, and I'm actually going to another country for a medical mission. But I'm being sponsored for that. Like I already said yes. I can't pay for my own ticket, my own stay, and all that stuff. So,
Mark, we're going to change that with the help of Rotary Club. That is why I put him on the record and challenged the Rotary Club Historic Filipinotown to bring you home. We need you here. I am here. Did I tell you that, guys? But I will be back in LA soon. But yes.
It's just, I'll be in Panama from a certain amount of time, in the jungles of Panama. Until I'll be there for quite some time, actually, until the 19th, I believe. I'm not 100% sure what my schedule
of
says.
October?
I'm literally also working on Nurse the Dead. So I can't, they have times that the time's off, and then they said they're going to go visit other places in Panama. I was like, nope, I'm going to stay in my hotel. I got work to do. I'm just there to do the medical mission, which is food for the soul. And then I go home to my room, wherever it is. I even bought my mosquetero already, and I'm ready to just write and work on this series because we have
This is
something to say
wonderful.
as a people, and
Yeah.
we
If
hope
there's-
and pray that people will watch it.
And you know what? If there's anyone who can do it, it's you, Martin. I'm not just saying that because you're my son. But really, I've seen you work. I've seen, my goodness, what you go through on a daily basis. And you keep on coming out stronger, more victorious. So I salute you, my dear Mark.
Thank you, Mom.
And-
It's not an
and-
easy road. Like, this is not something I would recommend to my own children when I do get to have my own kids. This is a very difficult road. Creativity in Hollywood and facing all of the pressures. And, I'm not a perfect person, right? Sometimes we lose our way.
Who is?
Sometimes, we spiral down. Sometimes our mental health blocks us, and our trauma, our anger sometimes raise because of what we do, right? But it is just one step at a time. And therapy really helps. And I recommend that to every single person.
That's such a great announcement because I know within the Filipino-American community, there still is some stigma about seeking help. It doesn't make you a lesser person. Let me tell you, my dear audience, it actually makes you better. Self-love, self-care. We always talk about that, Mark.
Self-compassion.
And compassion. No judgments, right? Now, tell me, if Rotary, Historic Filipinotown, were to take you to Cebu, is that something I'm sure you'd consider right after your Panama? Or how are we going to work that on your schedule? Just because I want to be able to give them a report and ask them to give me specifics on how we're going to get this done. Already, one of my cousins is with part of a mission and she's there. So we're being represented. She's there. She's handing out food, giving them just safe water to drink. And I think she brought some clothing and blankets from the United States. So don't worry, we're going to be fine up until you're done with Panama. What do you think, or can you get a whole list of what it is that we can do? Maybe use this time to appeal to our audience who are listening?
I think that one of the biggest things that really breaks my heart about our culture in the Philippines is when we donate blood, we expect to get paid, as opposed to here where it's like you donate blood and it's like a culture of donation in the spirit of volunteerism. A lot of
Can I tell you though, son?
Mhm.
It comes from a point of need. People
Yeah.
don't have money. So unfortunately, everything equates to a transaction because they
Yeah.
needed to survive. And honestly, with this sad story of corruption and the ghost flood control projects, you understand why these resources that are supposed to go to our people, our kababayans, are wasted away on unimportant things. And that's all I'm going to say about that. That this whole we'll have a whole other show about the flood control project. But for now, it's light. Okay, so ghosts, nurse the
So-
dead. It's light.
Yeah. So my point, I was trying to say, Mommy, if
Yes, go.
donate blood without asking for money for this one time, because I know they are so in critical need of blood. There's so many people that are in need of it.
Because of this earthquake?
Because of this earthquake and the people
Okay.
that were injured. So please go out, go to CMC, go to Vicente Soto, donate blood just out of the kindness of your heart, because your blood will be replaced within the plasma will be replaced with like 24 hours. The red cells will be replaced within 2 weeks. You will be fine. That is something free that you can give to save a life. That life will never be replaced. So
Okay,
please go
so
out.
Vicente Soto reopened.
Oh no, they just closed for that. Oh, that time that
You had
they
the
closed down,
earthquake.
that was just for their scheduled sanitation. That was like a scheduled thing. But yeah, that definitely so up and
Good.
running.
And your
they're saving
Cebu's-
many lives today.
So when you still have relatives that can help you get that medical mission going in Cebu, and you still have enough contacts within the hospital to offer your services at this point, do you think? You were here not too long ago. I thought I saw you and Marvin when you were promoting Hello, Love Again, and then you were here again, or so I thought. I'm not sure if I was looking at old posts.
Yeah, we did the tour, and then I came back because I also was doing I was kind of teaching with Philippine Young Entrepreneurs Association, PYEA. Shout out to them. We were going into
Is
like
that
Bulacan.
local here or in the Philippines?
It's in the Philippines.
Oh, nice.
That organization we worked with, like I was able to teach acting and screenwriting to
Yay.
underserved kids in the Philippines, and so that was probably one of my most favorite things that I got to do, is like giving tools to the people that really deserve to be given the tools to write, because they have stories to tell, these kids.
And this was all
And-
subsidized by...
Yeah, PYEA was there. Yeah. PYEA subsidized the
And
trip.
you continue
and-
to do this.
Yeah, shout out to Lodge Tunyaka. Oh my god, just the whole team. Everyone in PYEA, just good human beings. Like, you should check them out, mommy.
I will. And when we come back, Mark, talk to us about that and then more about Nurse to Dead. We'll be right back after a few reminders here on Pinay Insight.
Midas Hotel and Casino, a contemporary, design-led lifestyle hotel in the majestic hub of Manila with fabulous views of sunset on the bay. Midas offers designer amenities and guest rooms and suites, supreme restaurant options for sumptuous enjoyment, event studios for corporate meetings and vows, and a casino with world-class gaming. Here at Midas, we make days into moments. Sparkling creativity, it's stylemanship by Midas.
Yes. Join us November 8 and 9 at Incarnation Church, Glendale for the Maribor fundraising event supporting Philippine disaster relief. Enjoy amazing Filipino food, live performances, and family.
This special presentation of Pinay Insight is Rotary Club of Historic Filipino Towns offering for Filipino-American History Month. Sponsors include Pinas Food House, CPJ Multimedia, Thelma Sugay and Associates, Eastside Rising, Pinay Insight, and the Asian American Press Club of the U.S.
We're back here on Pinay Insight, and we have with us the golden boy. I think that's what I'm going to call you, Mark. He's got a doctorate in medicine. He is a dedicated son, but he did fall in love with filmmaking. Our dear Mark Labella. Back to you, Mark. And I think Nina has a question for you now.
You know why I laugh? Because one of my doctor friends in Cebu, shout out to Dr. Isako, was like, this is the errant son. He doesn't want to do medicine, even though everyone is pushing him to.
Oh, that is too funny.
Even my friends in medicine are like, come back to us.
Okay, Nina, you had a question for Mark.
Yeah, Mark, your upcoming film, Crab, is in collaboration with Robert Rodriguez's El Rey Company. What similarities do you see between Filipino and Latinx culture or storytelling that allow you to bridge these communities through your work?
Wow.
That's a perfect question from you. Can I tell you? I'm sorry, before you answer that, our dear Nina is married to Marcus. So she says somehow her mom thinks she's more Hispanic than Filipino. So we're going to just even the playing field.
You know what, Thelma? I think everybody, this isn't going to go on the video, right?
Right?
This is, edit this out.
It should.
But I'm telling you,
No, keep it.
I'm telling you, I am more connected with a different side of my culture and that I grew up in, and I'm reconnecting. And like you, I'm watching these Filipino movies, and through Thelma, I've reconnected with historic Filipinotown and many other things that I never even knew were around. And I live in Echo Park, Silver Lake, so it's shocking to know that it was less than 3 miles away. And Angel will joke with me all the time. She'll be like, I'll be like, listen to my Tagalog. And she goes, it sounds more like Spanish. Yeah. My accent, you're right. My accent is so dramatic, except it's like enhanced with the telenovela / Filipino telenovela version. I don't know what it's called.
Well, you're going to love Nerds the Dead because it's got some Spanish in it too.
There you go.
Oh,
Hey,
even
talk
better,
about,
right?
Is it? And it's called The Crab?
Oh, so yes, Crab. I just turned in my 6th draft. What had happened with Crab was I was working with a Filipino company at that time. I was going to direct that. And then we got called up. I was actually going to work with Alden for that, but we got called to Hello Love Again. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to work on one thing at a time. We have so much going on after this. I was able, and then Jolene, who's connected with so many people, she was like, Mark, I think we can, Chris Patswa, shout out to Chris Patswa, who is one of the executives at El Rey. They were like, Mark, we really love this script. I think we can work together on this. And she had a director in mind and all that stuff. And Skip Jason, who is married to a Filipino woman, he has Filipino kids. He was like, Mark, I want to make something for my direct. And he's been working with like really big greats. He's been working with Tarantino, Ridley Scott, so this is going to be his like directorial debut. And he was like, for my directorial debut, I want something that my kids could be proud of because it's very inherently Filipino. And to your question, how is related it to Robert Rodriguez as in Latino culture sense, right? First and foremost, it relates to Robert Rodriguez because he wrote this book called Rebel Without a Crew, that he made his first film for $7,000. And you know how we got that $7,000? By being a lab rat. He literally submitted himself to studies just so he could make that film. How it relates to Latino culture, to answer your question, is we are inherently the same, to be honest, right? We speak the same language. I'm fully fluent in Spanish. That's why I'm going to Panama. And it's because even words that are the same, our cultures and being colonized for so long, and the hierarchical mentality that it caused. For us, we call it crab mentality, right? And that's for them, for Latinos, for them in Canada, for everyone around the world. There is this thing about pulling each other down. And it's not just inherently to Filipinos, but we've somehow named it as crab mentality. They even have a song in Canada called Crabs in a Bucket. And it's that same principle where you put one crab in a boiling pot, it can still escape. How do you fix that? You put a bunch of other crabs in it, so they'll just end up pulling each other down. But I wrote that because I was tired of us pulling each other down. So I wanted to write a film that was a psychological thriller, the spoonful of sugar in the medicine, right? Of this lesson that we need to stop that. How do they finally, these people, these doctors that have been pulling each other down this whole time, how do they finally work together for once to solve whoever the culprit and the killer is? That's the psychological thriller part. And these people are doctors. They're smart. Filipinos are smart, right? We are educated people. And so they have to figure out, okay, was this a murder? Was this an accident? And all these little clues that in medicine that they could use while they're certain, they represent different aspects of that crab mentality. The selfishness, the gossip, the manipulativeness. I mean, each person represents a different aspect of it. And how do they overcome that? And to overcome that part of crab mentality that overtakes you, you survive the game. If you let it consume you, you die in this film. So then that's the whole principle of crab.
It's a little dark.
Oh,
It's a little dark.
Dark and bloody, but satirical. So it's
Nice.
it's also dark comedy.
I'm excited. You always manage to add a little humor to your film. So
Yeah.
that's what I really appreciate about you. Well, Mark, this is just a temporary closing. We will see you again because perhaps we'll do like a complimentary live show on the day of the release of this program where we can have people ask you questions. And if you're in Panama and you have time, we'd like for you to jump in on that call. You'll see all your fans. They'll probably have questions for you. So why don't you greet our audience, invite them to whatever it is that you have coming up, and maybe greet them Merry Christmas because it's already the Burr months. So it's definitely acceptable.
I wanted to send all my love sa ako ang mga pamilya, ug ako mga amigo, ug ako mga sugboanon dira sa Cebu nga to wish you love and good luck with everything that's happening. I know even typhoons are coming now. I love you guys. I hope and pray that, and I know in my heart that we will survive this too as a people with everything that's going on in Philippines. I think there's a reckoning with the corruption that's going on, and I give you strength and love and hope, the joy of being together. And I pray that everything will be okay. For everyone that is watching, I do hope that you guys will check out Nurse the Dead. Mommy, I hope we can, and Nina, I hope we can do premieres and show this to Rotary clubs around the world and nursing organizations, because this is something that I want us to celebrate. We are the backbone of medicine, not just here in America, but around the world. And we have made sacrifices for the lives of people, and it's time for us to celebrate the people who have. And so I hope you'll join me. A rising tide raises all ships. And I hope that, we remember and understand that, because it is time that we uplift each other as opposed to pull each other down.
So Mark, thank you so very much on behalf of Rotary Club of Historic Filipinotown, myself and Ben and all the members. Really appreciate you having this blessing and this thought, this idea, your creativeness. I think we could really expound on that and develop into more. There's more stories, not just only in the medical area, but all the professional people that have become the thread and a part, the threading of Los Angeles and Filipino-American journey. So, but I really love the fact that you're starting us off on this part. And so let me just say personal thanks for being a part of this program, and I hope we can do more. Take care and God bless.
Thank you, Terry.
Appreciate you, Mark. I'm going to catch up on all your creativity and your shows, and maybe we could talk more, and you could be more of you could produce a lot of the content that we find.
That's amazing. Thank you. That would be great. Yeah.
Mark Labella, so thrilled to have you, honored, humbled for your presence. We'll have you next time for sure. And here, for my viewers at Pinay Insight, thank you for tuning in collaboration with the Rotary Club of Historic Filipinotown and East Side Rising. This is Thelma Sugay saying, maligayang bati sa inyong lahat at magandang araw po.
This brings to an end our special edition on the celebration of the Filipino-American History Month in the U.S. I'm Thelma Sugay. We hope you enjoyed our show as much as we did bringing it over to you. We'll see you next week as we look into some of the most interesting festivals here in the Philippines. Bye and maligayang bati. 75 days na lang po at Pasko na.